Hello. Hi. Should be live. Here. Let me pull it up on mine and we can get started. Alright, cool. So for today, or for this stream, we're going to try to get it so we can be able to add as many as we want to our list, and that whenever we press fetch, that it would update our list data. So you can see it updates what we have right now, but we're not able to add any. And oops, well, that looks like an issue right there, right off the gates. Oh my goodness. And you'll have to look into this. This is probably more with how we're handling the swipe. But we'll get in add, and we'll actually able to add location. Okay. So there's a few issues that we have right now that we need to fix, and that are kind of common, or just things that you should maybe know about UIKit and cells in general. So when I click on this, it should take me to Fairmont. Yeah, and it does. So most of these will, and when I mean most, I mean they will all show me the right one right now, but once I start scrolling, they're going to be the wrong data. So if I scroll down, up and down, if I click on pretty much any of these, maybe by random chance it'll be correct, but it's going to be wrong. Somerville, yep. So why is this? And this is because we let the weather cell actually manage its navigation. So I think I said before in one of these streams was that these UI TableView cells are reused. So you can imagine that we have all of these, and when I scroll, it's really just reusing all the same. We don't actually have like this many cells on here. They're all getting reused for oh, see, that one's correct, but most of these will be wrong because they were originally a different cell, but once we start scrolling, they switch up. So how do we solve that? Well, it's pretty easy. We don't want the cell to handle any of the interaction, but what we want is the table view to actually handle this interaction. Okay. So if we let the table view, I'm going to add a should highlight. I'm going to fix something in SwiftUIKit. Kind of been working with it and fixing some things in there, but to get the DidSelect to work, or to be able to tap on the cells, we need to let them be able to highlight, or this should highlight has to return true. And so then I'm going to hide some of these because we don't need to pay attention to them. So whoops. So now we'll be able to add a DidSelect row at. So now we know what row has been selected. So if I click on this one, this would be the second row, 0, 1, 2. So we'll just take in the path, and let's just print out the path right now and see what's kind of different from just this little code change. So it doesn't navigate anymore, but it does select these. I don't know why this one's not selecting. Oh, there it is, yeah. Weird. I don't know why I'm getting weird kind of selecting. Alright. Well, so now for this, we should be able to pretty much use the exact same code that we had before, but we don't have data, okay? So we just need to get our data. So I'm going to first, let's just get the data. So you select data at wherever the path's row is. Okay. So now if we run it, oops, that's a tab. Now if we run it, if we click Fairmont, we get Fairmont, and Yeah, I don't know if it's my simulator that's giving me weird clicks, because it like normally clicks, so I assume everything's right. It must be my simulator that's kind of acting weird, because now it just works fine. So let's scroll a bit just to kind of get everything messed up. Okay, so if I click Fairmont, we get Fairmont. Okay. I'll just click on a few of these if it lets me. There we go. Yeah, jeez. So I think these are right. Yep. Okay, cool. All right. So that's how we fix that quick bug at the beginning. And so why do we not want to let the cells manage their own navigation again? And that's because they're getting reused. Okay. So if you actually look in table and in TableView, there's a lot of code here. We can scroll down to, where is it? Right here. So at the very beginning, it gets the cell. So in this cell for row at, for a table view, we're supposed to supply a UI table view cell, hence returning it. So what you want to do, you don't want to just create a cell. You actually want the table view to do all this for you. So all you say is table view, and then you want to just dequeue a reusable cell with the identifier and the index path. And then you can modify the cell. The cell might be some other cell other than a UI table view cell. It might be a subclass of UI table view cell, and so this one's cell updatable, which will allow it to call an update and let it update itself. Also configurable right here. So those were the two. Updatable and configurable are what we're modifying right here when we say configure and update. Everything's kind of being reused correctly now. We don't have the navigation in there, so now anytime I click, it'll just go somewhere. If I click on here, yep, there we go. Awesome. So I don't know what that weird swipe thing was. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so it looks like I'm swiping on Dalton, and it's getting a few ways down. Okay, so that's really weird. Let's check this out. Okay, so leading swipe action configuration for row at index path. Yeah, that is really weird. So, I wonder if yeah, see, but if you start moving that, see, that works fine. It's just the swiping that works kind of weird. Let me think. Delete. I wonder if I need to work on the swipe action. I'm just going to remove that and see. If, yeah, see, now I still have the swipe action, and that's from editing style. See, it's weird. It has that naturally. I'll have to look in that because now, yeah, we can't edit or delete. Yeah, I'll have to look into that after. I don't want to waste the stream on this, but let's keep going. Let's remove some of the data that we have, which is this big zip codes variable, and that has a ton. And we're just going to take in, how about 3 of them? So, boom. Alright. So now we don't have that much, so it won't take all of our table view. And then a side benefit of reducing the count is now we don't have to worry about the swipes getting off or anything. Now it doesn't let me touch. I don't know if I'm not clicking hard enough or what. Oh, jeez. All right. There, yeah, see? Come on, simulator, you're supposed to be the latest version. Can't swipe to delete anymore? Oh, did I not rerun it? I'm so confused. Yeah, I'll have to look at this. Maybe this is, I'll update us on this, but let's go in and work with the add. Okay. So right now, whenever we click add, it's our right bar button. So we just send them to a ViewController that has a zip code that we can type in. And at the end, it gets the zip code and tries to fetch it. Okay, so if we actually, I'm remembering now, we actually added it, I guess. I forget, it's been a bit. So let me find a cool zip code to add. Alright. So we'll just do this one. Okay, yeah, it does add it, so I'm crazy. We already have it adding, so woo, that was easy. So then we can move this around. I'm still confused on the swipe and delete stuff. Huh. I thought we had that working. I'm so confused now. Can edit, editing style for row, at index. Is the data sorted the same? It should be. Here. Interesting. I don't think it's even. Yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna waste all the stream for it. So we have add. Let's make this a little bit nicer. And all right, cool. So we have our ViewController right here. You can see. We'll just move this so we'll just focus just on it. Okay. So we have the ViewController. I'm guessing what kind of we want to set. Do we want to set a title? Do we want to set that? So let's set. Let's not set a title. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of a title like navigation title because I mean we need a title for the name right here. So let's do this. Let's make the temperature really big on the top, and we can potentially have it with a circle and get a shadow, and then we'll have the information below that you can kind of swipe through as a list. So we're going to use, like I said, a list, and table was changed to list because it's not really a table. It's more of just a list of views, and it's supposed to look like a table. So there we go. We have that. And let's make this have some padding. And well, actually, I want to throw this in a view, just a UI view to contain that. So now I can make this view pretty big, and I'll just make it about 200 high. Cool. So I'll try to make this as big as I can for right now, and we'll just kind of get the idea of it. Boom. And then we'll just make sure that this aligns center. So down for here, we have the title, we have the clouds and description. So I'm thinking I'm gonna combine these two together, just because they're kind of related in information. I guess we'll just throw this in parentheses as extra information. All right, there we go. Whoops. Oh, what happened here? There we go. Jeez. All right, so we should have a UI view about there, where this 60 or the temperature will be right in the middle. It'll be a little bit bigger, and then we'll have a title, and then I guess we don't need the spacer anymore since we'll have a list that just goes to the bottom. All right, let's check this out. Should at least look a little bit better. There we go. Okay, cool. So now I can kind of scroll down and see some extra information. But it does look like we missed our extra parenthesis right here. Now I don't want this list to be selectable. I guess this one is configure cell, or is it selection style? Allow selection. So we'll just configure the list, and we'll just say that allow selection equals false. Okay. So now we don't have to worry about them touching it. Kind of just information right here. So what we can do is well, I don't know if let's hide the lines and just try to make it scrollable. The lines kind of make it weird. You might want to keep the lines to make it easier to know that it is like a list or a table, but if we want to kind of just make it naturally scrollable with items, then let's just try that. I think it's like separators. And I just set it to none. I should do that. And there we go. Okay. If you wanted to add some padding in between, list doesn't really have that. I mean, you have to add spacing in between, or you could use a VStack and a scroll view, but I'm gonna put this back. And so now we have that. Let's actually make this font a little bit bigger. And I'll just use a bold font of, I don't know, 72. Hopefully that's not too big. I don't think it is, but. So there we go. We got 73 or 77. Can't even read. Read the end numbers. All right. So we could add some more information. We can make it cleaner. Or I don't know. I guess if anyone in chat or watching has any kind of thing they want me to go over, we could. Or I was thinking maybe just switching and messing around with some other kind of app. I don't know. I'm curious on why this stuff is kind of acting weird. I don't know if I load it on my phone if it'd be fine, because like I can't click on any of these right. Well, now I can after tireless clicking. I'm gonna try to. Let's try it on a different simulator, I guess. Alright, we can click, yep, see? it's like worried you can't click on the bottom one. Now I can click on it. Perfect. So what was the? Forget one. Yeah. See. I don't know. I think it. Yeah. See. I don't know. It's just me clicking. I don't trust the simulator. I'm switching. There we go. We have a great simulator now. If we swipe, yeah, see? Everything's fine. I'm actually curious though. It can't be just the simulator, right? I don't know. Interesting. Let's add them all back. Click, yeah, it goes. Whoa. Okay, now I don't trust anything. I was really expecting it to. What? Getting rid of all the lakes. Is there any more lakes in here? Oh, beach. Yeah, get rid of that too. Do you see any lakes or beaches? What? I don't get it. Is that simulator just actually having issues right then? Okay, swipe. Westerville. Whoa. Trying to break it. Please break. Myrtle Beach, come on. Alright, what about if we move it now? I'm actually confused. I hate when Xcode or the simulator does this. It just... I don't believe anything after this point. Okay. Yeah, yeah. It looks fine. I mean, I don't know. Actually quite annoyed about how that was acting so weird on the simulator pretty consistently. Alright, whatever. I guess it works fine now. We can continue, but let me try to think. Well, we have some other kind of conditions. I mean, this isn't sunny, it's rainy. So maybe we can add in some more cases for that. But I'm going to use another kind of package dependency, and this one's specifically called UIKit. I'll just go off of master. I think that's fine. I forget the difference. I think 0.1 or whatever is off of master. So, but instead of clicking and trying to find the emoji that fits and anything like there, I can just kind of type it in. So for clear skies, come on. There we go. Okay, so for clear skies, we're gonna want the sun. All right, so there we go. And actually, we could probably change this to. See, this is what I'm debating on changing the name, because E is like horribly as a type, but I'd say it's pretty good as like a quick kind of typing like that. So, oops, except for that, of course. Raw case must be. No, it's not raw value. Weird. Well, I mean, regardless of adding it there, I want to add it there. Oh, well, I bet that was freaking it out. Oh my gosh. Command V is almost identical to Command V. Alright, whatever. We can't add it there. That's fine. Well, let's add cloud. And I guess we'll add well, if we just have this, we can comma this out. Got rain. What else do we have? We have rain, clouds. Yep, it's clouds. Clear, yeah. Oh, what? Let's just add in rain and we'll see. Rain, cloud with rain. There we go. Extra comma, my bad. All right, cool. Now we have some rain. So if we're doing this, then let's actually go to the weather cell and, whoops, where is it? Here we go. Let's print out this value. Right, and that's just going to be optional, so that's why that's complaining. But now we can see that there's mist, lots of clouds and rain. Yeah, so I think it's just repeating now. Yeah. Okay. And so I guess we can add mist. Don't really know an emoji for that, but see, no, mist. I think there's like, is there like smoke? No. This is the tough part when you just don't have an emoji for it. So like, I'm gonna go look at my phone to find one. Oh my goodness. Okay, I kind of see it, but the problem is I don't know what the name is, even if I can find it on my phone. It's like right by wave. Fog? There we go. We'll just use fog. I think that's the, it's like the weirdest emoji where is it? Is it not here? What? What is this? Did one have fog for a split second? Whatever. What was it? Oh my goodness, I forget. See, I don't like our data structure that we have. Not a fan. Alright. Well, let's clean this up a little bit. Yeah, we'll just ignore the mist right now. I saw some, I swear. But, let's check. I'm trying to think. Got that, got that. We could change edit to done, but that's more of a small thing and nothing good. Yeah, I'm just messing with the table view itself. Let's think. Well, I guess I'll just pivot. I don't have really much more to go over for this. If no one has any questions, and I'd much more rather go over some of the new edits or some new additions to the SwiftUIKit project that I've been working on. So let's see. How do we check the latest stuff? So going into the SwiftUIKit project, we've had quite a bit of closed issues, mainly navigation bar wasn't using animated parameter, so some of these are just really simple renames or anything like that, like table was changed to list, added some cool helper functions for constraints. The container view I'd love to talk about, and I don't know, the ability to set padding or update padding was pretty cool. That's a while ago, so maybe I already mentioned that. But so for this one, it's just making a simple. What is this one? So yeah, there's a function on NSLayout constraint that allows for easy isConnect to check if an anchor is connected to another anchor in some means. So then you can see this is used to find the leading, trailing, top, and bottom constraints. So then I just say, is it connected? And then you can see it in the tests. Well, this is the shorthand being used in the project, and then yeah, for the test we can, instead of calling all of this to get all the constraints, we can just say, hey, I want the bottom constraint, and then get the first one. So that's a nice little add, but also yeah, that's what this one was. And then we have the container view, and then yeah, this one was a bit ago, but has the ability to update the padding, and specifically any of the top left or top leading, trailing, or bottom padding. So the container view is really cool because the only way that I've mainly messed with container views is in the storyboard when they're handled for you. Doing them programmatically is not as common, I find, just because they're kind of annoying. You have to move the view controller to another view controller as a child view controller, and then you have to add the view to the parent view controller, and it just doesn't feel natural. So added in here a way that you can just add the container view, and added a pretty cool example where I have a container view that contains the add view controller, and then another container view that contains the setting view controller. So let's try this out really quick, because this is a really quick example. So let's make sure that we're on the right SwiftUIKit. Looks like we are. We're on develop, so we might need to update, but we're on the right branch to have these changes. So let's go and see right here. We have the view embed table. So let's say I want the table on the top and the add stuff on the bottom. How do we do that? Well, first we need to actually kind of make add its own thing. So we'll just take this and steal this view controller, and let's actually create a file for the add view controller. Okay. So just import UIKit, and then we'll also import SwiftUIKit. So then we'll call the thing add view controller. That's a UI view controller. And then pretty much we want to make it this right here. So view controllers normally just use view did load, and we need to do super for that. And now we just need to kind of set this. So we're inside the view controller, so we can get rid of this. We have a view, so we can get rid of this and just say view dot background color dot white, and then dot embed. And we can get rid of this because we're not doing navigation anymore. And saying we want to fetch. So now for the basic way how to do this, we can do multiple different ways on how to give the add ViewController the functionality to fetch or to add, and that's because fetch is from this ViewController. So if you want to add ViewController, we need to tell this ViewController what to do. And then, oops. I'll just change that to a push. I like. So add ViewController, yeah, whatever, needs to know how to add this, and pretty much we will just expose this function. So how we can do that is a few different ways. We can have a closure variable that whoever initializes us sets the closure and tells us what to do on add. We could, set up a delegate where we expect a delegate, and that delegate will perform events on us. Or we can do it the RX route where we have asynchronous. We have a publisher, we listen for events, we observe, and then we react on those events. For the simplicity of just the add ViewController is only doing one thing of adding, I'm gonna have it ask for a closure on initialization. So I'm gonna say private var add handler, and this add handler, we'll just say it's just a void handler right now, and let's make it optional. Okay. All right. So it looks like we need to pass in the zip code. So what we can think is now this fetch, or whatever function we want, is this add handler. So what we can do is we can say self.addHandler, and we'll just pass in the zip code. Okay, so that means that add handler takes in an int and doesn't return anything. Okay, there we go. So some reasons right away why we might want a delegate is the fact that we can give functions with variable names. It might be really annoying if we're passing in, 4 or 5 different things, or even just 2. I mean, one's annoying if you want the name and you can't get it, but if we're passing in like 4 different things, it makes it very tough to kind of see this. So using a delegate is a little bit better. So well, let's check out this, and maybe I can show a delegate quick. So we have the add handler, we pass in the zip code, we need this. I'm going to make this, I guess, just internal. By default, since it's optional, we don't need it when we initialize, so I don't have to actually modify the initializer. So then in here, I can say whenever I make the add ViewController that I can just configure, and I will change this add handler to just equal self.fetch. Whoops. Okay. So I did this on purpose to be kind of weird. We have a closure and we're setting it just as a variable, and that's because these two types are exactly the same. We take in an int, return nothing, and fetch takes in an int and doesn't return anything. Okay, so we can do it where we set it equal. We can do it where we put it in a closure and then call the value that's passed, or call the function with the value passed in. Whoa. Here we go. The nice part about doing this is that we can say weak self, and we can establish a weak reference. So that's nice. So then we don't get a retain cycle. And I'll touch on this a little bit more in another stream. I already touched on it a little. When we do get retain cycles, that we want to make sure we have a weak reference to ourselves. Since we are storing this as a variable, it needs to have a weak reference, so it doesn't have the strong reference or the retain cycle. So now let's just try to run it and see what happens when I try to add one. So we have a lot. Let's remove all of them. Oops. That's my favorite one to add. Whoa. That's not what I wanted. Let's do, what was the first one? 2, 6. Cool. So I'll just have this. So now when we go to add, let me find one to add. We can go 60172. And now it will add it. There shouldn't be anything that seems different with this, and that's because pretty much we're just extending the logic as a variable, passing the function so it can call that. But let's make this a little bit cleaner, and let's say this is item addable. Kind of weird name, but let's say we want to add zip code, and that has to be an int. Okay, so instead of the add handler, what we can do is we can say we have a weak var delegate. I'll just call it delegate, and that's an item. Oops, item addable. Okay. So if it's weak, it needs to be a class, so that's why we'll get that error. So we just need to make sure it's a class because it's weak reference. If it was a struct, it wouldn't really have a reference unless we didn't follow the struct kind of rules, and we threw a class in the struct as a variable. That kind of breaks what a struct is. But instead of the add handler, now we can call self.delegate.add zip code. And so now, like I said, we get the variables. So if we had multiple ones, we can just change this, and this is the variables that we pass in. It's they'll have the names. I mean, it's pretty much if you just want the names. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. There's a little bit more, but yeah, this one we get the names. In the tuple, or I mean not the tuple, in the closure we don't get the names. So in here, if we run it, it's not going to work, and we also need to remove this. So if I build, we got rid of that. So now nothing will happen. Okay, let's try typing an actual one too. Double check. Right, so nothing happens, and that's because we haven't set the add controller's delegate. So in here we can say configure dot delegate, and we'll say the delegate is self, and what that means is self is the view controller. So it's going to give an error because the view controller does not extend from item addable. So if we extend from it, then we will get error to add this function that we defined, and now we can just say fetch zip code, and now we're done. So that's the nice part about the delegate, is that you can extend it. It's a little bit more it's more of a pattern than kind of just making a variable for it too. Because if we have multiple variables, well, you know, if I want the delegate to do, you know, add, fetch, and delete, well, it's easy because these will automatically be populated. If I actually do this, I'm going to get an error because I don't conform to this protocol. I need to add these functions. If for here we tried to do this, but we had them as you know, just variables or closure variables, then it doesn't matter. We don't get the error. I can get rid of this. I haven't implemented fetch in anywhere, but everywhere passes, and that's just because this is optional. Now the delegate's optional, and I don't have to set the delegate, but then it won't work. But that's, you know, kind of the point to both of them. You have to set them for them to work. So we used the delegate, defined a function, had our presenting view controller inherit that function, so we could call it or inherit what it means to be item addable. And so now we can add them, and that's great. Awesome. Trying to figure out what to do next now. Oh yes. So now that we have that, now let's add view right here. Let's add this to this page, like we were saying. So we're just checking out kind of a thing, or a new thing in SwiftUIKit that's called container views, and we're just going to get a VStack, and then inside of here we will have our table, and then we want to have a container view. Can't type. And the container view, we need to tell the parent. The parent is whatever view controller is showing it, and then the child is going to be the view controller that we want to present. So in this case, add view controller. So in here, I want to actually make this frame, let's say 164. I don't know, that sounds good. So that it's very small at the bottom. And we'll get rid of this. All right, awesome. So now we'll have the table, and we should just have the add view right here. Let's see. Awesome. So there we go. Now we have that. So now I can add in any zip code I want without even clicking the add. And I should be able to press add, and that's because we passed in our delegate. So now this knows how to do it. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. We can still click this and go to our own and add in another one here. But both of them work, and we should be able to fetch, move our items around, delete. Awesome. Yeah, no, this is great. Yeah, that simulator was weird. I still don't know what to make of that, why it was acting so weird. But cool. So yeah, that's the container view. You can just kind of throw in a view controller, make that view controller fully functional here, and then use it other places. Now, of course, this is pretty static of a view controller. If you wanted to make it more dynamic or update itself, we'd want to break this kind of call out into a separate function, and then anything that we wanted to update in here, let's say if we wanted to update I don't know, the zip code or that stuff, well, we'd need to save zip code as a variable, and we can do that simply like this. Oops, zip code label. There we go. All right, cool. And now all we have to do is just say self.zipCodeLabel, then in here, I mean, we could just say self zip code label dot text, and let's just say let's just change it to whatever zip code they type in. So it'll just match whatever value's in. So again, we have to be mindful anytime we use self in a closure that we say weak self. Don't want retain cycles. And I guess if the value is not right, we'll just give it a 0. Alright, so we have zip code, and then if I start typing, if I type in anything that's not that, awesome, there we go. So, oh cool, I got one. Awesome. Well, I'm going to say a lot because I don't know what to talk about. Is there any questions on that? I'd love to go through another example, but I don't have that much time to start another example and go through it. So let's go back and I guess we can look through SwiftUIKit. Maybe I can talk about this a little bit more. So here's some example code. Kind of a while ago I wrote example code to try to make it easy to understand, but it's kind of a block of text, and then under it it shows kind of what it creates. So it creates a list, or a table, which has been changed to a list, so it is kind of old. I need to update this. But we can get a button, we can get a text field, we can click this and go see image loaded from the URL, click to see an alert, toast, etc. But there's also basic SwiftUI examples and some awesome examples that I have. So let's check out some of those. The basic ones is really good. Similar to what was before, but this one has a lot more examples, and it tries to go through most of the examples. And then the awesome UIKit is this one's just a branded loading view that you can kind of play and pause. It'll keep looping and play that. The square is the image that you can put an image in. So the code right here, or the code is right here. So we have a spinner view, the kind of thing in the background, or the thing that is spinning the dots. And here's the two spinning views. So then we just rotate the spinner view to spin these two views. We just embed them. And then we have an image in the middle. And then we just animate it. And here's the shape layer for the dots that you see. But yeah, this is a repo to try to record some of the cool examples that you can do. Pretty nice that's in 56 lines for some spinning animation stuff, but for the basic example, here we go. So this has the navigate, the buttons, so the alert just prints out an alert with a cancel button, a message, and it lasts for 3 seconds. And then this one does a toast that lasts for 5 seconds, and it says welcome. So we get ViewController, some other stuff, and you can kind of just scroll through and see the basic examples, divider, and just try to outline what each does or anything like that. So yeah, I try to make it as clean or neat as possible, but if you do have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. You can ask in Discord or obviously comment on this video. And there we get a web view. Awesome. Well, I guess we can see the most recent stuff that'll be added, but really I don't have much else. It was weird. I couldn't click on the TableView cells. The DidSelect just never fired, and then I found that pretty much we need this to not be false by default but true. You need to highlight the row or this needs to be on to select it, which is kind of weird, even if you want the highlight off, which you can turn off. I have an issue put by a developer kind of asking for an easy clone and go using the Xcode project. We're still talking about that, kind of the benefits of that or anything like that, so we'll see. But then, yeah, documentation and collection view. So there's not much going in. I've added quite a bit. It's really being added as needed. But the stream and working on some apps have definitely helped. But I love other people's opinion of SwiftUIKit and kind of writing in it or anything like that. Really appreciate that. But that's all I have. I guess the last thing I will mention is that yeah, I guess that's need to update the footer. But for OneLeaf, there's the OL Go or the OneLeaf Go mobile app, and this is using a mix of SwiftUIKit and also SwiftUI. So if you're interested in really anything iOS development, if you want to just get your hands dirty, ask questions, or just make something with some code that other people have worked with and kind of understand and learn what's the project already, feel free to check out this project or to message me. The project already can or has a little API wrapper that can register the user or sign up the user, can log in, log out. You can get all the posts, you can add posts, everything like that. So there's quite a bit that we can do with the API, and the API is up and live. But we're just kind of waiting on designs. But if you want to mess around, make some view controllers or views or anything like that, feel free. Message me or anything like that. We have a few channels for the OneLeaf projects, OneLeaf website, and OneLeaf Go. So I'll see any message in there. But if there's not any questions, I think I'm going to end it here. Still don't know what the whole thing was for at the beginning with the other simulator, but this is a nice simulator. I like the new SE. Great phone. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell button or whatever everyone says. But I hope you have a nice day. I hope you have a nice week. See you in the other streams and see you in Discord.